All right. Give a couple minutes here, give a little introduction, let people flow in, and hopefully let the noise in my background here, some yard work in the background going on. But I'll give a couple brief introductions here to myself and some thank yous before we get going. My name is Jamie Shield. I founded A-Bay Engineers a couple years ago, and our focus is on sustainability and helping breweries be more resourceful and resilient. So I just want to start. Thank you so much, Andrew, for putting together this great community and giving us the opportunity today to talk about this great topic. Appreciate you carving out the space, and for the folks listening, I'm incredibly grateful for you tuning in. And if you're in the brewery world, there might be some other folks out there, not brewers or in the brewery field. Appreciate you. I come from a wastewater background, and great folks in that industry too. Just quite different. We're talking unions, we're talking hazardous waste, and just being so nice to work at facilities that can enjoy the product and kind of the experience. Love being in the back of the house and enjoying a good beverage with you guys. So don't hesitate to reach out to invite me over. I'm out of Denver, Colorado, doing this webinar from Fairport, New York, outside of Rochester. And I want to make sure if anybody has questions throughout, don't hesitate to drop them in the chat, and we'll try to address them as we go. And then we'll leave some time at the end for questions, and kind of use the time too to throw some ideas out there and use the framework that we're going to talk a little bit about today to see how some ideas might fall into a prioritization workshop or a matrix. All right, well, some other things I want to kind of set the tone for today a little bit. I believe there's a million great sustainability ideas out there. I want to give you a tool that is going to work for everybody, and not just for those, 50% of folks that might be able to do a wastewater initiative to reduce their impacts on their community. So we're going to talk about a framework that's going to change lives. Like it changed my life, and I want to share that with you guys, and it can help your brewery reduce costs by 10%, but also reduce your carbon footprints and become as resilient and become a great community member as well. All right, so 11:04. Let's dive in. Let's have some fun. It's supposed to be fun today. So just going to define sustainability. I want to talk a little bit about my aha moment around sustainability and some of these frameworks, and then the three secret sustainability tips, or three tips and tricks that I want to share with you, and kind of some of my stories. A little bit of a talker, so I want to just share some stories with you along the way. Apologies in advance if just want to get right to it, but there's a million great ideas out there, and I'd recommend, if you want specifics of a bigger brewery, go listen to the Master Brewers podcast with Hal from Drake's Brewery. Amazing insights on what you can do. And for what you can do personally right now, you can call all your utilities, all your suppliers and vendors, and have conversations around what do they have available. I live in Colorado, where we have Excel as our energy provider. They do free energy audits. Most water and wastewater treatments facilities will come out and do a water rate assessment for you. Talk to waste management, whoever your waste collector is, and have them do a waste audit for you. There's tons of free resources out there to figure out what ideas you can come up with, and then you can use our framework and really prioritize ideas that they do, and idea coming from your staff too. So let's dive in. Probably be about 5 minutes, and we'll have some fun. Okay, so what is sustainability? So I have a few definitions here. I won't read each of them to you. But my view is sustainability is not solar panels. It's not driving an electric car. Although those could be great initiatives for 75% of the breweries and businesses out there, but sustainability to me, fullness. Dictionary, it's a method so that the resource is not depleted or damaged. Going about business lives and the P's, the planet, and comes community member, using your resources actively, being a great product. So you tuned out there. So in my view, resource or sustainability is quite simple. It's how resourceful are you? Well, do you use your current resources to your product? How efficient are you with those resources? How many member are you? Are you putting a strain on the energy grid by having huge spikes in demand throughout? Are you concentrated waste to your
Hey, Jamie, I wanted to
waste
jump in for a sec. Your
service
audio
and
is a
not really
little in
conscious
and
of how
out.
much water you're using? Just a couple on sustainability. Are you paying your
Jamie,
create
your audio is a little in and out. I don't know if we can get your connection fixed real quick.
sustainable profit? This is your ticket to survival for us as a for you to whirlwind have with a recession or with climate change. So I want to tell you a little bit of a story here about my aha moment around sustainability. So do you remember the slogan reduce, reuse, recycle back in the 80s and 90s? I still use it today a bit. I always saw it on our recycling bin, and I thought it was just part of our blue bin program, reduce, reuse, recycle, and it was just getting us to recycle. Didn't really understood what reuse or reduce meant. But then I got into the solid waste field out of college as a civil engineer, and literally neck deep in garbage, performing a waste audit for Oakland, sorting through garbage. One of the most aha moments. The amount of junk in the garbage, literally, is mind blowing. So we were evaluating how the county's recycling program was working, and if there was opportunity to mince it or implement a compost program and see what that would look like. The manager of the recycling facility that we were working at showed me how a family of 4 reduced their waste from literally 200 pounds a week, a full bin and a half, down to 1 garbage bag for the week. And the winner, there was 4 families going against each other. The winner had a bag for 2 weeks, a small plastic bag of waste after 2 weeks. Family of 4, 2 kids. They were able to reduce and reuse and relook at their waste streams. So that was just my aha moment was, holy cow, we're diving into garbage neck deep, and here you have some families of 4 barely producing any waste. And just kind of ever since then, I've wanted to drive down my own impacts through reducing and reusing, and then if needed, recycle. And that's what sustainability is for me. And it's being resourceful. It's going about things the old way. It's reusing that glass jar for another use around the house when you're done, instead of tossing in that bin. It's going to a zero waste store, like the old milkman, right? He used to be super resourceful, refilling up the jug. Him driving around in a vehicle that probably got 5 miles to the gallon is another bit. So this is why I believe it's not a one size fits all approach of get an EV, put solar panels on. I believe, and I've seen it work many times, implementing a framework to improve day after day, year after year, and that's improve top profitability and carbon footprint. They go hand in hand. Had a nice interview with a sustainability director with a big brewery, and his whole job revolves around return on investment of the sustainability initiatives. Everything has to have an ROI at that facility. Obviously, you can, short ROI within a year or two, because that's what his job is based off of. So just keep that in mind. It's for everybody, and it's going to make you. It's you have to do it. It's if you're not, you're going to be left behind. Another brewery that interviewed over in Europe, basically during COVID, being a certified B Corp was what kept them alive. Their employees came around the idea that we need to be the best community member we can and provide a service for them, because that's what we committed to when we became a certified B Corp. And we can all do this. Look at the city of Seattle. During a water shortage and a drought back in 2015, the town asked them to cut back their water by 10% to enable to not be in a crisis. Next thing in the city knew, they were hitting 25% reduced usage, and they were having a water treatment problem because of the filtration and the technical side over there needed more water usage. Okay. So let me take you back to life-changing moment for me. How New York City and their Department of Environmental Protection saved over $110 million per year using an easy-to-use framework. So I had the pleasure of being hired on by a large environmental company called Veolia, and we teamed up with McKinsey, a huge management consulting firm, to help New York City use their resources more efficiently. We brought in experts from around the world, from Europe, to tell the wastewater treatment facility operators how to operate. We had no impact. The operators in New York had a unique way of doing things that the approaches from Europe didn't work. Our USA experts came in, said you need to reduce your blowers, you need to thicken your sludge, some technical mumbo jumbo. Didn't work. We used this framework that enabled collaboration, enabled folks to say, idea one versus idea two, how do they compare? And which one do we want to implement? And what the impact's going to be? How hard is it going to be to implement this? And this went from, we can't do any of that, to, oh, I came up with that idea. Here's what we can do. Here's what we've already tried. And let's implement that together. And let's track the right metrics to make sure if it does go off the wrong way, we have the safety bounds to make sure we're alerted in the right way. So I remember sitting in a workshop thinking, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm a 27-year-old civil engineer. I don't know anything about wastewater, really. We have experts that told us there's no hope. And I just remember the director getting up and saying, that's a great idea. Joe, operator who never has his voice being heard, his idea was put on a pedestal by the director. And this, all of a sudden, this collaboration started happening. And an expert in the field from McKinsey was doing that workshop. And we got done with it. He said, Jamie, you're going to run the next workshop. And what do you mean? I don't know anything about wastewater, but it was about the framework. And the framework is really easy to use, and it's really valuable. And I was able to roll that out to 13 facilities over the next few years and save $110 million per year annually. And our initiatives were over $40 million per year. And that's without capital investment. That's taking an existing process and being more resourceful within it. So I'm talking cost savings there, but the CO2 footprint reduction by reducing your energy cost, increasing the anaerobic digestion of the sludge, these bugs eating up waste, and making less sludge that they have to dispose of, was enormous. It reduced their carbon footprint by 20%. So that's what we're talking about here today. And see it over and over using this framework. And the manager says, oh my goodness, I would have never prioritized that, or I would have never listened to Jamie about that because, I sit in this ivory tower and he's down in the weeds. He doesn't know what's going on. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. And that's why I wanted to share with you here today. And this tool literally changed my life and kind of started this business around it and enabling folks to do more with less, or produce the same high quality product using less resources. So let's dive in here. Let's see if we have any questions here real quick. All right. A couple of folks from Denver, a couple of folks from New Jersey on the horn here. So here's the framework. So a lot leads into this and a lot leads out of it, but this is at the core. So we call it a prioritization matrix. So it's all about collaboration. I guarantee you implement this, your carbon footprint will be decreased more than solar panels, more than having an EV fleet. I guarantee your employee engagement will go through the roof. I guarantee your community impacts will improve tenfold. So what's this about? So you want to evaluate ideas based on impact and 3 levels of impact. So we have, if it's a wastewater facility, or if it's, the canning operation and reducing loss throughout that process, kind of what's the risk? Are we going to reduce, or are we going to potentially lose a whole batch if we implement this? Or will we reduce loss and be able to get another case produced from implementing this idea? Is the risk reduction high or low? And how easy is this going to be to implement? Is it going to take months or years, or can you do it tomorrow? So on the E's, the far right scale, that'd be something you could do today. You could, for instance, take a better look at your chiller operation and change a set point. You could label your recycling and your waste containers much better with pictures of items that you want to put in each bin. And if you have a food truck, each food truck's got to bring a picture of what can be thrown away, what can be composted, and what can be recycled. And then tips on how to reduce and reuse as well. So some photos, I mean, that right there is something super easy to do that actually has a pretty good impact, versus something energy management wise. How can we reduce energy consumption at this facility? And let's brainstorm ideas around that, and let's plot these ideas against each other. And we can come up with, okay, this idea is going to save us $1 million at a big brewery, and it's going to take us 3 months to implement, versus this other idea is going to save us $10,000 and we can do it tomorrow. So you kind of evaluate each of them against each other. So leading up to that, you want to open up the floor, open up your business to idea generation. Make it safe for folks to bring ideas to you. You want to have tap room folks, you want to have cellar, you want to have head brewer, you want to have accountants coming to you with ideas on how to make operations, how to save money, how to reduce your carbon footprint. So the more ideas that you have coming in continuously, whether it's the Michael Scott suggestion box, or it's a digital platform where folks can send ideas, all of it will work. It's just creating that safe environment. I recommend reading the culture code from Daniel Croyle, around building safety within your business so you can have folks bringing ideas to you continuously. And once you have ideas, you can prioritize them against each other. So I mentioned there are the few examples. This framework, once you get those ideas flowing, it's groundbreaking. It's life-changing. I remember in a Tampa Bay facility, the manager was very top-down driven, his way or the highway. He said, let us just have an hour, 90-minute meeting, and we'll let folks bring their ideas to the table. No dumb ideas. Everybody has their time to talk, and it's your time to talk. You will voice your opinion about that idea, positive and negative. And then each person has, it's a democracy, has a voting right to evaluate the idea. So if we're going to reduce the time between blowdowns of a compressor to, reduce the amount of energy to maintain that compressor. Okay. Jamie thinks that's a great idea and it's going to save $1 million. Business operator or assistant brewer, Kelsey, thinks that's a bad idea and it's low value and hard to do. So we'll each put a dot on a matrix. Some of these workshops you can see in the top right. So you got a dot. Each person in the workshop voices their opinion. So you can see if it's a wide spread, then you need a good conversation around, all right, Jamie, why do you think it's so easy and hard to implement versus Kelsey, why is it such low impact and going to take 6 months to do? So higher top right, the better. Lower top left, probably shelve it for more of a capital improvement project. So everybody has the ability to voice their opinion. And yeah, maybe the president of that company or the owner, founder of the brewery has final say, but at least you're able to give your opinion. And that Tampa Bay manager blew his mind. He said, I would have never thought that Joe's idea around better maintenance strategy, around reducing the amount of oiling and doing more run to failure of a piece of equipment would ever have floated to the top in his opinion. So by creating that level playing field, there's a lot that goes into this framework, but by creating that level playing field, you enable people to talk, to voice their ideas, to voice their carbon footprint reducing ideas, and then you can evaluate them together. So within the impact, go back here, within that impact, carbon pricing is a thing in other countries. So you can fairly easily say if you're going to reduce energy usage by 1,000 kilowatt hours per year, that means you can look up at your local utility how many pounds of CO2 is produced per kilowatt hour used. You can see how much carbon you're using electricity-wise, and then you could put a dollar figure to that. Or you can collaboratively as a group discuss, okay, for every pound of carbon reduced, that's the equivalent of 10 cents, and just kind of make it simple. And then you can kind of talk through, okay, a pound of caustic removed with this initiative, that'd be about, $10. So with the carbon and with the reduced chemical usage. So you can evaluate that. It's going to take us about 6 weeks to do. So from there, you want to prioritize, you want to get all the ideas in the matrix. So if you contact us after this, we can send you a matrix with all the numbers on the right-hand side that you could, the Google slide, so you could just move idea number 1, you can move that into the matrix. And idea number 2, you can use a whiteboard with just a erasable marker, and you can draw the where the ideas fall in the matrix. And once you get one idea out there, you can evaluate the rest against that one. So it's really powerful once you start going. And then, like this is a brewery in Colorado that we did this with recently, and they prioritize some smaller impact initiatives. That's going to have a couple $1,000s, but is really easy to do versus something that's going to have a pretty big impact, but be more like a couple months to implement. So their ideas were around energy management. So the easy to do one was creating better scorecards, we call them, to track energy usage through their big pieces of equipment, like chillers, a big energy driver, HVAC, rooftop units, versus so be able to compare against each other is so powerful here. All right. So from there, you prioritize these ideas, and you don't just go and implement. You want to have a plan, and the framework that will supply to you has, okay, what do you want to look at? Who's the owner? How often will we look at the progress of this initiative? And you can use these framework too. Like I was talking to Matt, the sustainability ambassador for Brewers Association, and he's talking about diversity and inclusion initiatives and folks feeling overwhelmed. Sorry to go back, but like, hey, use this framework, use this prioritization to say, okay, we need to do these 20 things this year. Well, let's prioritize the 3 that we need to do today. Make that business as usual. Come back to the matrix in 3 months. Look at the next 3 that you need to do. Which ones are going to be easiest to do, yet have the biggest impact and not overwhelm. Make them business as usual. Just like everything, it will be easy after a bit. Then go to the next one. And create goals around these initiatives. Simple ways to track your progress. And I had an aha moment around this on a project we were working on a couple years ago, where a simple initiative to increase the thickness of a product to reduce the water content. So this was on the wastewater side. A lot of similar initiatives in the brewing world. They didn't think any progress was happening. We are tracking and monitoring the metrics, the KPIs, and we're talking about small things that we're doing, changing set points, watching water levels, being a little thicker here, varying the speed based on this measurement and that. And I just remember sitting in this workshop, everybody's down. It's been 3 months. And I look at the average for the last 30 days, and it was above our goal that we had set as a group. And they're all looking for this big stepwise change, but our goal was only was 5% or 7%. I think it was 7% increase in thickness. Went from 2.5% to 3. So actually that was 20%. Sorry. But when you're just so deep in the initiatives, in the ideas, and you don't take a step back, you don't see that you actually hit that goal, and you don't celebrate. So my point here is set goals, set targets with these ideas, and celebrate successes. If you're not tracking and monitoring effectively with open book management, with these other ideas, you're not going to understand that these small 1%, 2% improvements really add up. And next thing you know, your cost of goods sold has gone down by 10%. It's amazing what 1 + 1 does not equal 2 in these things. 1 + 1 = 10. This is why kindergartners can outperform CEOs and graduate students on building a tower from marshmallow and spaghetti. Amazing case study there. And it's about building a culture of success. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. If you're top down and everybody's got a dumb idea and we don't want to hear it, you're not going to last. You're not going to your brewery's not going to be sustainable. It's about a culture. It's about community. Those 3 P's: people, profit, planet. They all go together. You have to make a profit to be able to stay in business, but you have to look after your people and build that community. So here's framework in its entirety. So you think, why not going to be able to work at breweries, or we can't do this here? I've seen it across industries, seen it at small breweries, seen it at large breweries. It's a system, it's a framework. You buy into the system, I guarantee you will drive down your carbon footprints. Guarantee you will be able to come up with innovative initiatives to drive down your carbon footprint, to be a better community member, to improve employee engagement. So we were talking a little bit earlier on the idea generation. So it's creating that up top, creating that system to generate those ideas, prioritizing them. Sorry, I keep coming outside the frame. Prioritizing them, then coming up with a plan to implement and track and monitor and celebrate successes, and continually tracking, and coming up to that continuous improvement pipeline. So you can, if that idea is going to have huge impact, but it's going to take a year to do, you probably want to start to do it, but you want a capital improvement program, or a planning on the background to start that moving forward. So this is a bit of the special sauce here, secret. I call it continuous improvement journey, but it's simply the best framework to improve year after year. And that's profitability, that's carbon footprint. I know this is Sustainability 101, but take this framework today, generate ideas across your brewery, start prioritizing them, and start building implementation plan. So an idea or a thought might be, I can't do that. Like I'm just trying to keep the doors open. I get it. I've heard that a lot. But sorry for the chicken scratch here on a whiteboard. But look at this. When the prior guest, Larry Chase, was talking about financials and open book management, and at a 10% profit margin, so you $1 revenue, you're taking away 10 cents. If you're able to save $1 there, that's $10 earned, basically. So think about that. If you're able to prioritize ideas, that's going to save you $1,000. How many pints is that bringing in? If you're able to save $1,000 or 1,000 pounds of carbon, think about the employee's reaction, the want of a new potential employee to come and have a big impact. Not just serve beer, but they're serving their community. So here's just, when I ran the numbers, I had an aha moment of, well, is it sales, or is it, is it cost of goods sold and optimizing operations? And, I just had an aha moment. I think this was around Christmas time this past year when I ran the numbers. Like, okay, at about 30% profit margin, where do the numbers fall out? So you can see the break-even point at 30% margin would be $1 saved is the equivalent of $2.50, $2.30 earned. The lower the profit margin, so if you're at 5% profit margin, it's like 20% or $20 earned for every dollar saved. So the higher profit margins, the less the impact. So if you are struggling, this is your ticket to stay afloat, to stay in business, to be a better community member, and you can do it today. And just helping each other out, helping a coworker, helping another brewery out. It's what this community was built for. Doing garbage cleanups in your community, doing trail work on your local trails, giving away money to local charities, building, having collaborative beers with, a fish initiative in town to save them. Just giving back has such a big impact. And there's various certifications like Certified B Corp, some bigger ones that are worth its weight in gold, forcing you to take a good hard look at yourself. You can do some of those. You can do assessments for free. You can see where you don't need to pay for the certification. You can take a hard look at yourself in the mirror. And like I'd mentioned with that collaboratively generating ideas, that's just building that community within your place of work. I urge you to start that today. Just a couple last things here. So send us an email. Here's my email, Jamie, Jamie at a-bay.co, and we'll send you the framework. We'll send you the matrix. We'll send you kind of facilitation notes and guide. The value here is over $700. We'll give it to you for free. And just our present to you. Then with that too, we'll put together an implementation guide for you. You can see here the framework. So after you get done with that workshop and everybody wants to start doing it, and a week later you hear it doesn't work, well, that's what we're trying to prevent. We're trying to prevent everybody just putting their head down and going. We want a plan, and we want the right metrics to track. We want to have goals of what success looks like. So we'll provide that framework to help everybody get on the same page and row in the same direction and not do too many things at once. If you change this over here and change this over here, one of them doesn't work, but one of them does, you want to understand why the one worked and why the one didn't, and not just say, oh, we're about even. So that's why we're going to give you that for free as well. And we have a couple other exclusive opportunities for you with a whole system. So if you just shoot us an email, we can give you an exclusive opportunity to dive into that and really see that 20% optimization across the platform. So I just want to thank you so much for taking the time today. Such a great opportunity to increase your standing in your community, reduce your carbon footprint and your impacts, improve profitability, go from 10% to 15%, be able to engage in your employees more, pay them a living wage, give them the opportunity to succeed. So let's open up the floor a little bit. I know lots of folks can watch this afterwards, so won't always have questions come in, but let's open the floor. Any questions around sustainability that you might want answered, or about our framework? If you have ideas and you want to see how the framework might work, we could dive into that matrix a little bit here quickly. We're about 40 minutes in. I have another 10 or 15 minutes if need be. I'll put up the matrix here and be able to use our little notes here to move these in and out and show you where ideas might fall against each other. Anybody? Okay. Well, I'll just show you that implementation plan and create some Gantt charts from here too. So you prioritize 2 ideas, optimize the chiller operation, reduce shrink wrap usage. Who's the owner of that initiative, and what metrics or KPIs are we going to track to monitor the success of that initiative? And what are the ideas? So within the shrink wrap, you might have 3 ideas you want to try out to reach that goal of reducing shrink wrap by 20%, or reduce chiller energy usage by 20%. And then what are the key takeaways? What is the agreed celebration you hit this goal, everybody get a beer of their choice from another brewery, or we get the favorite pastries and coffee, specialty coffees. You get cappuccinos, cortados from your favorite coffee shop around the corner. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. I guess not. Well, it was an absolute pleasure today. I want to challenge you folks out there. Failure is not bad here. You want to fail fast. You want to try things out. You want to compare how you're doing, and move on. You want to fail. You want to encourage your staff to bring bad ideas and learn from failure. What I was trying to say is that failure is a stepping stone to success. Failure is a stepping stone to sustainable operations. Like I let in here, some of the best things you can do sustainability wise is to reach out to your community, reach out to that waste hauler that you use and ask them to do a waste audit, reach out to your energy provider, get an electrical and gas audit. There's easily opportunity there. In Colorado, for instance, there's folks on wrong rate structure to begin with who are paying 20% too much. There's other folks that everybody in a free energy audit. They come and we've had lists of 20, 30 ideas for brewers to reduce their energy usage, from coils of in a cooler being so clogged up that they just need to be cleaned, and the motors of the fans will increase efficiency, to, okay, like I said, the drawdown of that compressor. How often do you use it? How often should that be done? To the chiller operation and the installation of pipes coming from and going to. So there's tons of resources out there, and I encourage you to use our framework to prioritize those ideas so you can have a long-lasting impact and not just a one-off. Sustainability deserves that. Your children, your new brewer that's coming, it's going to be at your facility in 20 years. They deserve that. They want to brew with the same ingredients and have the same availability of resources that we have today. So using this framework will get you there. And continually innovating, continually try new things, and please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here for you, and we wanna see you succeed. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, craft beer professionals. Thank you so much. Have a great day.